All right, well, the rain finally stopped. Made a little mushroom reconnaissance this morning with no luck, so as a backup I brought along the crab traps. Got them all loaded up. Let's go see if we can catch anything. There's a little female. Female because this part's real wide where my finger is right there. So can't keep females and she's too small anyway. Not a great start and there's so much swell here. Might have to move. Fun to see a crab anyway, little Dungeness. Nothing. A lot of seaweed. Okay, here we are at a much calmer spot. Let's see if this worked. Ooh, feels pretty light. Nothing. Okay, let's see what's in this one. Nothing. I'm starting to see a pattern. Okay, let's try this. Oh, it's heavy. It's a good sign. All right. One huge Dungeness that is a male. How awesome is that? I'll double check him, but he's got to be legal size. That is great. The other one, male, but he's gonna be too small. Sweet. I'll take him out of here. We can have a look. All right, check this guy out. He is more than legal, more than 6 1/4. So that's awesome. You can tell he's a male. If you look by my middle finger right there, this bottom part of his shell is pointy instead of kind of bigger and rounder. So that's a male. So that's great. Legal crab. Awesome. I'll take him. Let's see if we can get some more. All right, what do we have here? A little red rock, and then a really little red rock, and undersized Dungeness. This guy, we'll take him out and see how he looks. Might be worth keeping. It's a good time to remind you that I'm in Oregon, not Washington, so we're not limited on our red rock size. Whoa. Little guy. Ooh, really heavy. So there's a lot of little ones or one big one? Oh, there goes one. Whoa! Holy moly. It's a lot. This guy might be legal size. Let's see. Okay, here's the test. And, yep. He's almost Washington size, but definitely Oregon size. Cool! And another male, of course. That's great. Well, here we have a pretty good sized crab, but it's a female. I can do it without getting pinched. See that big plate on the bottom? So we'll let her go. Well, I've got my gear all packed up, so I'm gonna call it a day. You know, these may not be the greatest crab traps on the market, but as far as just being lightweight, portable, I think you really can't beat them. They're easy to store, so I'm gonna stick with them. You know, one thing I did want to add before I go is please be sure if you do this to pack out your trash. Here's mine, just these, you know, cut zip ties from the drumsticks. But I find stuff like this out here all the time and it really bums me out. I try to pick it up when I find it, but you know, yeah, like I said, if you're gonna do this, please do just take your trash with you. Try to leave things nice and clean. All right, so I just made it home, and I thought I'd give you a look in the cooler. I got a bunch of little red rock crabs, and then 5 big Dungeness crabs. And the interesting thing about that is that I only caught 3 of them. I happened to be walking past the cleaning station on my way to the car. There was a couple guys there, and they had a big pile of crab. They'd obviously done pretty well, and I you know, was asking them how they were doing it. They said, well, we were crabbing from a boat and just had a really good day. And we talked a bit more, and they said, hey, you know, we got plenty. Do you want to take a couple? And I said, wow, really? Are you serious? And he said, sure. He said, you know, God's been very generous to us today, and he likes it when we're generous with other people, so why don't you take a couple of these? What a nice thing to do. Just made my day. I was far too polite to refuse, so I said sure. Then it turns out one of the other productive places to be crabbing today, I guess, was at the cleaning station. So anyway, just an awesome thing. Really made my day. You know, I don't know if those guys will ever happen to come across this video, but if you do, thanks again. That was a really cool thing to do. So here we have it. I'm going to get some water steaming and get these crabs cooking. All right, so here we are. 5 nice Dungeness and 8 red rock. Anybody want crab?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. All right, well, I thought I'd go ahead and show you how I clean these guys. As a matter of fact, I think it might be even easier to show it on this little red rock instead of this big old Dungeness, so let's do that. So these have been steamed. I steam these guys about 20 minutes. These guys maybe only about 10, 12 minutes. So the first thing I do, there's all kinds of ways to do this. If you do it different, that's great. I'm not saying my way's the best, but the first thing I do is remove the entire claws, and so just go like that. And if you do it just right, like I did there, you actually get this bit of meat from the body. So there's really, the only meat is just under here, and then in all the legs and claws. So that we can just kind of, it's gonna be messy, but that's fine. I'm gonna pull that meat off the little tendon there. Got a bowl. Put it in there. And then for this claw part, there's really 3 parts. So we'll just go ahead and kind of break this joint, pull it, and some of the meat came out, that's okay. And we'll just pull the meat off the little tendons. And there's still some in this part, so remember the goal is not to smash this as hard as we can and shatter it, because then you have all these little bits of shell in there. We're just gonna kind of give it a good tap till it cracks. There we go. And like I said, it'll be a little messy, but if you're lucky, it just breaks into a few pieces, and we can take out that meat right there. Throw that in the bowl, okay? For the claws, I just take and pull this part and all the way out, and there we go. We can remove this little kind of hard part. And now same deal, we'll crack it. Not too bad. Don't mind the noise in the background, just my children. They're happy because they had crab for dinner. Anyway, we can keep that meat. And the last little bit, kind of in this joint right here. Let's try to crack that. Oh, there we go. Don't want to get these little pieces of shell and anything, but there we go. Okay, and then as far as, you know, of course you do the same on the other side. But I just go and the goal, I really don't want to waste any of this meat, you know, so I want to save as much as we can. So I'll pull this next leg joint out. And again, this time that meat kind of stuck in here, but you can work to get that out. Actually, this makes a nice little tool. You can just go like this and kind of go ahead and pop that out. Easier said than done, but well, now I'm making a mess of it, but you get the idea. We can remove the meat from there. That's fine. And then for these legs, there's meat here and here. So what I do, just pull this apart. And the tendons kind of come right out. And sometimes you can break this by hand, like that. Sometimes you need to use tools, but there we go. And get this meat out. Theoretically anyway. And there we go. So yeah, it takes a long time. But, you know, get all the meat out of the legs, and then get the meat out from under here. And the rest of this, I mean, you know, yeah, sometimes you can see where people take them completely apart and everything, but it's really not necessary. So anyway, that's it. And of course, same thing in these guys, there's a lot bigger. All right, anyway, thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time.